Well, after a fascinating championship Sunday, we now know who will meet in Super Bowl 49 in Glendale, Arizona. It is the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots, a dream matchup. Of course, we'll be looking at this game from every conceivable angle here at BETDAQ Tips over the next couple of weeks, so we do hope you continue to check back with us. Thought now is a good time for some first impressions, though. Like any NFL fan or better, I am really excited about this game. You have the Seahawks, defending Super Bowl champ, #1 defense in the league, a real bully, facing the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, really the gold standard for success in the NFL over the past 15 years. No handicap market currently being offered on BETDAQ, and I do not expect to see one. That's because this game being offered at Pick'em at sportsbooks around the world, so only a moneyline market necessary, and it is a very lively moneyline market at BETDAQ. I do suggest you check that out. Now, you probably heard the Seahawks actually opened as a 2-point favorite out in Las Vegas. Several Vegas books releasing this game even before the AFC Championship game was over. Of course, the Patriots had that game well in hand in the second half. But again, Seattle opened as a 2-point favorite before an early wave of New England money pushed the line to Pick'em, where it now sits at sportsbooks around the world. And I got to tell you, over the last 48 hours, haven't heard a whole lot of people picking the Seahawks. Seems like everybody liking the New England Patriots. That shouldn't come as a surprise now, just 48 hours after Championship Sunday. After all, the New England Patriots beat the Indianapolis Colts 45-7, and the Seahawks had to pull a rabbit out of the hat in that game against Green Bay. What a finish in that game. I think, though, over the next few days, as the recency bias fades, I think more and more people will take a long, hard look at this Seattle team, realize just how good they have been over the second half of the season, and I think we're going to see more people get on that side. After all, the Seahawks, this defense especially, just so good, and we've seen it time and again. We saw it last week against the Green Bay Packers. I know the Packers nearly won that game, but the Seahawks defense played great. I mean, in the first half, holding the Packers twice there inside the 10-yard line, holding them to field goals, and then, of course, they really dominated the second half. Now, New England, a top 5 offense, and the Patriots very balanced. They can beat you with the running game, and of course, they can beat you with the passing game. And this Seattle secondary, which was #1 in the league this season, dealing with some injuries right now to a couple of their best players. You probably saw it in the NFC Championship game. Earl Thomas hurt his shoulder. Richard Sherman, a left arm injury. We've heard it's a dislocated shoulder for Thomas. Haven't heard yet the exact extent of Sherman's injury, but both of these guys have said that they will play in the Super Bowl, whether or not they're 100%. So do think we're going to see them out there. But Earl Thomas especially, he's a safety dealing with a dislocated shoulder. You would think that could affect him a little bit in making tackles, but we saw Thomas after he returned to the game against the Packers in the second half. He was flying around, made a couple of big hits. So look, I'd hesitate to bet against this Seattle defense, even against an offense like the New England Patriots. That being said, got to tell you right now, I do have a dog in this fight. Going to be hard for me to look at this game objectively because the Patriots were my preseason Super Bowl pick, and I got in at 9-1. Now, of course, I am going to hedge that bet, but still, a New England win here, and I'm going to make out pretty well. That being said, I'm not sure the Patriots are going to win this game. I mean, yes, prior to the season, I thought New England, mainly because they were longer odds than Seattle. I think Seattle was only 3 or 4-1 to win the Super Bowl at that time. Don't remember exactly. We did preview it here at BETDAQ Tips, and of course in the Handicapper's Guide that I do prior to the season, we have it there as well. But again, the Patriots were my short odds choice for the Super Bowl at 9-1. I think I also threw a couple of long odds choices in there that didn't work out as well, like the New Orleans Saints at 15 or 16-1, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 30-1, which looked pretty good for a while before disintegrating. But again, I did get on New England at 9-1, so do have a dog in this fight. I'll try to maintain objectivity whenever possible when analyzing this game over the next couple of weeks, but I will be rooting for the New England Patriots. Now, I think the Patriots have a good shot here. We talked about their offense, how balanced they are, going up against the best defense in the NFL. But it's really on the other side of the ball where I feel New England has a real good chance of limiting the Seahawks. This New England defense has been excellent this season, top 10 in the NFL in points allowed, rushing defense, and I think it's that run defense is really going to come in handy in this spot. New England very good against the run, especially over the second half of the year. We know this Seattle Seahawks offense. We know what they like to do. They want to run the football. #1 in the NFL in rush yards per game this season were the Seahawks, and we saw them run over that Green Bay defense in their last game. But, you know, over the first half of that game, the Packers were able to contain Marshawn Lynch and the Seattle rushing attack, and we saw Russell Wilson have some trouble. We saw the Seattle offense struggle to move the ball. And if you can slow down Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson on the read option, if you can slow down the Seattle rushing attack, you can expose the Seattle offense a little bit. They don't have much in terms of playmakers at the wide receiver position. Doug Baldwin, their best wide receiver. And it was funny, I don't know if you were monitoring Twitter at all during the NFC Championship game, but it was funny to see the Twitter mob sort of turn on the Seahawks midway through that game. You know, it's been nothing but positivity in terms of everybody when talking about this Seattle Seahawks team over the past year and a half, and why not? They've been the best team in football. Hard to find a bad thing to say about them. But in the middle of that game, when it looked like they might lose, saw some people taking to Twitter criticizing the Seahawks offense, saying things like, well, Percy Harvin must have really been a pain to run him off, and where are the playmakers in Seattle, things of that nature. And it's true, the Seattle offense lacks playmakers. Again, this is an offense that loves to run the football, 28th in the NFL in pass yards per game this season. So if you can slow down or stop their running game, you can turn this Seattle offense into a below-average unit. Problem is, no team really has been able to totally stop this Seattle rushing attack. And even though the Patriots have been good against the run this year, I don't expect them to stop Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks. But if the Patriots can put up a good fight, I think they could keep the score down here. And Tom Brady and this New England offense, they are so good. Even against the Seattle defense, you'd expect them to get a little something going. 17 to 24 to 27 points maybe for the New England offense. BETDAQ has not released a total yet on this game. We do expect that in the next couple of days, and of course we'll have some definite thoughts on that. But my early thought, my first impression here is for New England to win this game, it's going to take a really good performance out of their defense. They're not going to be hanging 35 points on the Seattle Seahawks defense. But you know what? I think the New England defense does have a chance. I think they have a chance to hold up nicely against Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and this Seattle offense. So I think we could possibly see a low-scoring game here or a lower-scoring game than some people expect, even though it's hard to say exactly what people expect when we do not yet have a total on BETDAQ. But look, as I said, we'll preview this game from every conceivable angle here over the next couple of weeks. No doubt the injuries to Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, we'll keep a close eye on those. Do expect both of those guys to play, but that is something, if either one of those guys are going to be limited, it's going to be a big deal because both of those guys, all pro caliber players. Of course, we've had a lot of recency bias over the last 48 hours, people jumping on the New England Patriots. As I mentioned, the line in Las Vegas opened at Seattle -2, but now sits at pick at sportsbooks around the world. I do expect some of that bias to fade over the next few days as people take a long, hard look at this game and they remember just how good the Seahawks have been over the second half of the season. A lot of ways to look at this game, a lot of storylines. We'll be covering hopefully all of them here at BETDAQ Tips over the next couple of weeks. Plenty of time to talk. Those were just some of my first impressions. Please do get with me either via email or on Twitter. My email address, john@betdaqnfl.com, Twitter @betdaqnfl, with any thoughts, opinions, suggestions you might have in regards to this game, or if you'd like to see anything here on the BETDAQ Tips site over the next couple of weeks, any Super Bowl related content, drop me a suggestion and I'll see what we can't do for you. Again, that's john@betdaqnfl.com or Twitter @betdaqnfl. Well, until then, for BETDAQ NFL, I'm John Arnette. Enjoy the build-up, folks. Should be a fun couple of weeks.